30 years into the Adam Sandler comedy experience, and I still don't think film critics know how to talk about Adam Sandler comedies. And I think it's because so many people do not understand what Adam Sandler is doing, what this brand of humor is, and how to talk about a comedy. I've seen so many reviews and so many people bashing this movie, what it stands for, what it is, the cameo fest that these movies are, the stupid humor of this. And my reaction is, that's kind of what I wanted Happy Gilmore 2 to be, and I was really satisfied and happy about it. So I'm going to talk about the Adam Sandler comedic persona, what the comedy film of Adam Sandler is, this genre that he's created, and why I think Happy Gilmore 2 is very successful at doing all this, and where I was even surprised what this film did. Usually I write down my review and I have it kind of paced out so I know what I want to talk about. I actually think that would be a disservice for Happy Gilmore 2, which is a film that I think is kind of best to be explored as passionate as I can be. How I try to review movies is I don't try to bring anything into the movies. I just try to see what is this film's intent, and did this film deliver on that? And the intent of Happy Gilmore 2 is it is supposed to be a sequel to Happy Gilmore that is building off everything that we've had with Adam Sandler as a comedy star for the past 30 years, what that means, what this character looks like older, and bring back that style of comedy that Adam Sandler had such a fervent fan base for, me being one of them. Growing up in the 2000s, you can imagine Adam Sandler was something of a comedy god to me growing up. I mean, Grown Ups is still one of the most fundamentally important movies I saw growing up. It was my definition of comedy. It was my understanding of what comedy looked like. It was my introduction to basically this whole era of 90s SNL stars. This is where I learned about David Spade. This is where I learned about Chris Rock. This is where I learned about some of the other supporting performances in this movie, whether it's Meadows, whether it's Norm Macdonald. Like, this was the gateway drug for me to learn about this history of SNL, which then led me to see Tommy Boy, which also led me to discover Mike Myers and Wayne's World and all of that, and then to go backwards. Like, he is that introduction for me. And Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, those early films, The Wedding Singer, are so like fundamentally important for my development and understanding of comedy. And honestly, probably a large part of why I do what I do today is due to my love of comedy growing up and from understanding what comedy is through the lens of Adam Sandler. So going into Happy Gilmore 2, my whole hope for this movie was, I love Happy Gilmore. I think that's a 5-star comedy masterpiece. I think it's one of the funniest films ever made. Can this movie justify its existence and make me laugh consistently and make me happy? Guess what? On the most primitive level, Happy Gilmore 2 did that. I laughed quite a lot throughout this movie, especially in the first half. I think the second half has some roughness around the edges. I still really enjoyed it. I think what I really enjoyed about it is the first one is a lot of heart and a lot of laughs. And this movie continues on this. This movie has a lot of laughs, in my personal opinion, and has a lot of heart. And actually, I think the heart really wins out in this movie and charming in that way. Essentially, this film follows Happy Gilmore 30 years later. Life hasn't gone exactly the way Happy Gilmore has expected, and now he has 5 children, and he is somebody in crisis that needs to rely on his family to kind of get him out of it and to regain his passion for the sport of golf, which he has lost over the past few years. And this is a journey of Happy Gilmore becoming the Happy Gilmore that we all remember from him 30 years ago. Does this sound familiar? It's because it's largely the same plot structure that we've seen in recent blockbusters films, in Top Gun Maverick, in F1. That is the same level of mode of performance that Adam Sandler is giving to Happy Gilmore. Again, very different subject matters, but that is the movie star persona that we are seeing explored in this movie. How does this person who was known for this type of film 30, 40 plus years ago, how do they age? What does that look like? What does that mean in today's pop culture in today's zeitgeist, and also what is this battle between the old and the new? Because as all of these films are, and specifically what Happy Gilmore 2 is it's the old school versus the new school. And in sports, the new school is really defined by technology. It is so soulless. It is so based on like fastness and trying to, I would almost say, like appease a TikTok generation who wants to consume sports like this. Fast, 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 fast. And there's such an appreciation for the old way of doing stuff, which is something Top Gun Maverick explores. It's something F1 explores. And it's funny enough, something that Happy Gilmore 2 actually tries to engage with. And I found to be a very clever way. Adam Sandler, and I've seen this as a big criticism of this movie, brings in his family to this movie. We have Sunny Sandler, who is one of Adam Sandler's daughters, who has been starring in films with her father for the past few years. She was really good in a film that came out to Netflix a few years ago that was also an Adam Sandler film, You Are So Not Invited to My Bar Mitzvah. I thought that was like a kind of funny modernization of Judy Blume's style of writing that I actually quite enjoyed and I think has a lot of heart. I thought that movie was actually quite cute and quite funny and quite charming. And I think she's actually really good in this movie. And I think there is kind of this natural thing of, and it's kind of what I really like about this, is you have the character of Happy Gilmore 30 years. And we remember the so immature Happy that we all fell in love with in 1995. He's now this father. He still has a lot of that immaturity, but he's a good father and he's a caring father and he loves his kids. And this bond between him and his daughter, Vienna Gilmore, is like really sweet and well realized. And I think it is something that having his own actual daughter is, because this is a story about fathers helping daughters, fathers giving up everything to help their daughters, and also daughters redeeming / saving their fathers. Like, I think all of these elements are in play in this movie, and I thought it was actually pretty well done in this movie. And I think it really actually hits the sweeter emotional bits of this movie, which that's what I've always found when I really enjoy an Adam Sandler comedy. It's when the emotion of these films actually hits and you're like, oh, I believe what these characters are going through. I believe some of the absurdity of these movies, because ultimately I do care about these characters. I cared about Happy Gilmore 30 years later. I cared about his family unit. I cared about him getting back out there at, I believe he's 58 in this movie, I think is what they say. I cared about all of that and I found it a great time. There's other elements of this movie that I also just think are very fun. I love the additions that Adam Sandler adds to this movie, which is bringing in some of his friends, which has always been a trait of Adam Sandler, which is making sure that his friends have fun roles to do. This movie is cameo galore, and to be honest, I never minded because I thought all the big supporting performances in this movie given by some of his friends work. Some of them, just to shout out a few, Bad Bunny is in this movie. He is Happy's caddy in this movie. I didn't know Bad Bunny was this funny. And I thought Bad Bunny kind of stole the movie. I thought he was incredibly funny in this movie. I thought every laugh line he had really hit. I thought he has some of the best comedic gags in this movie. Just fully surprised that he had this in him. I wouldn't have expected Bad Bunny to have this level of a comedic performance in him. John Daly is also just incredibly funny in this movie. He quite literally plays a fictionalized version of himself, and he's living in Happy's house, and I couldn't believe it how funny he was. And, you know, him being a real life golfer, I just didn't expect this from him. Every scene, I'm like, wow, he's hitting every comedic beat. He has a few scenes with Steve Buscemi that I thought were really funny. And then you have just other guys appearing. Like you have John Lovitz in a small cameo that I thought was funny. You had Kevin Nealon getting in a few jokes. You had returning cast members coming in. Like Ben Stiller reprises his role from the first Happy Gilmore. And to be honest, that was probably my least favorite part of the second movie. One of my favorite cameos is actually, and again, just somebody that I didn't know could hit this tone, Margaret Qualley, who was in The Substance last year, and I thought she was incredible and deserving of that Best Supporting Actress. I thought she was so funny in this movie. Like, again, just another laugh out loud moment. And you get those cameos throughout. But the one performance and the one element of this movie that I really, really want to talk about that really made me happy was seeing Christopher McDonald back as Shooter McGavin. I really enjoyed that they brought this character back and they add elements to the Shooter McGavin character. and I think add a real new dynamic to this character from the first movie that I actually thought was really fun. That was, again, I'm not going to use the word clever, but I liked this element, and I thought it was a really unexpected way for this character to go that I had a lot of fun with watching. And Adam and Christopher McDonald have such great chemistry in the first movie, and I think they carry it over. Also, this movie is just a love letter to everything Adam Sandler has done. Adam Sandler is nothing if he's not sentimental, and that's always something that he's played in his career, and especially in his comedy, it's the reason he casts all his friends. It's also the reason that this movie is paying tribute to everyone who came before that is no longer in there, which includes Carl Weathers, which includes the person who played his grandma in Happy Gilmore, which includes just other actors who have appeared in Adam Sandler movies that are no longer with us. He is paying tribute to them, and he does it throughout this movie, and I actually found it quite sweet and emotionally effective, but not in a way that I was like, oh, it's hollow. I'm like, no, he actually genuinely is giving them love, is shouting them out. Like, this is done in a very non-cynical way that I really appreciate. And it's throughout. One of the funniest jokes in this movie that, again, it's kind of like this almost Naked Gun level of humor, of parody and spoof. This movie is like every character that we are introduced to is the son or daughter of a character that we knew in the first movie. Like, just, they do that joke about 10 to 15 times, and it's like quite literally like an opportunity to get cameos in this movie. And it becomes so absurd that I actually found it to be quite clever and really funny throughout. And there makes for some very funny cameos in this movie where I'm just like, oh, it's really good to see this rapper appear, or it's really fun to see this NBA player appear as the son of a character from the first movie. All of that stuff really worked. This is to say that, again, I understand that this is not high art. I understand that this is not going to be one of the best movies of all time. I understood this movie as this is Adam Sandler trying to do this one style of comedy that he has, in my mind, perfected throughout his career. And when he hits that mode of comedy, I love. I got to see him in concert like a year and a half ago. That's the concert. That is his style of humor. And if you like that style of humor, you're going to enjoy this. So here's my recommendation. If you like Adam Sandler, if you like his style of comedy, if you've generally been on board for his movies, this is probably a really good time. If you're not that, if you are against Adam Sandler, if you've never found any of his movies funny, then yeah, you're not going to like this. And I don't know what else to say. If you like it, I think it's really well worth your time, and I had a really good time watching this. And it's also a 2-hour movie that just doesn't feel anywhere close to 2 hours. I had a very fun, enjoyable time watching this movie. Recommendation from me, kind of high, but I'm going to do it because I had a smile on my face basically the entire movie. 3.5 out of 5 stars. So thank you to everyone who watched this video. I hope you consider subscribing to my channel for more. And if you subscribe to my channel, also subscribe to me on social media, TikTok, Instagram, at Ben Talks Film. Let me know that you're coming from this channel. I have some digital codes. I already own La La Land digitally. So just message me on any of my social media saying you're coming from this channel and that you're interested in one of these digital codes. I'll message you back if I still have any left. So thank you all for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.